And we are live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Forever Sports. It is team announcement day, and Rassie Erasmus will announce his side, take on Argentina down in Durban this afternoon at about 3 o'clock. And today, we're going to be picking our team, the Forever Sports community team that we would like to see, the 15 that we would like to see take on Argentina this weekend. And basically how this is going to work is we're going to put some polls up in the comments, and we're going to vote for every single position and basically build our sort of 15. And it's a fun exercise, because then what we can do later is when the team officially comes out, we can then actually rate our team. We can actually go back and see how many points we got, how many players we got right, for example, and see how close we were to the final thing. So people, if you haven't done already, please make sure you go and predict your team. It is on the My Picks app. So you can see there, mypicks.app. Go onto the platform, go and predict your team. Email it to us. Go and show us. Go and drop it in our Facebook comments, for example. Go and show us exactly what you think is going to happen a bit later, and where you are sitting with the team, because this needs to be a collaborative effort. You know, we need all you guys to start getting involved in My Picks so that we can really grow it into the platform we want it to be. It is the same platform we will be using for our player rating shows. It is the same platform we will be running our prediction leagues. In fact, yesterday we put out a poll about the URC prediction league that we're going to set up today. And by the time we go live later, we will have that link to go and join our URC prediction league, score prediction league. And, you know, I want to see people also going and creating their own leagues on the platform, because that's the whole thing. This platform is made for you guys at the end of the day. My Picks was developed with you guys in mind. And we basically went and looked at everything that we've done, everything that we'd like to do, what kind of things that you guys have said you like, and from there we've gone and created this platform. So I'm very excited about it, and we're starting to use it more and more within the actual content, stuff like that, which is going to be a really, really cool addition to things. But yeah, the big thing is we're going to be moving into a big URC prediction league with prizes, and also we're going to be doing a big Autumn Nations Series League coming up in November, with that first game for the box. You got 5 games for the box to get involved in for that, for example. But that's going to be a lot of fun. So people, get into the chat. What are we saying? What are we feeling like for the team later? We need to start getting our first poll up, which is to decide who is going to start at loosehead. And then we can really start getting going over here. So your options are Oxen Chair, Bowen Fenter. I'm going to put in Jan Hendrik Wessels, which is, by the way, JHW. Let's make things a lot slightly easier, shall we? And I'll throw in a Thomas Totoy, who can also start at loosehead. So let's get voting. Let's go and see who you are backing to start in the number 1 jersey. We've got just shy of 50 people in the chat, so please do smash like on the video, by the way. Let's get that up to sort of 10, 20 likes, and let's try and see if we can get to over 30, 40 votes on every single poll before we add it to the team itself. So as mentioned, we're looking for number 1. That is the way we are starting, 1 through to 15, and then you can generate an image basically, and we'll have a look at exactly what we've picked. And then later, as mentioned, when the team comes out, we will then go and score it, because that's the whole thing. You get scored on how many selections you got right, whether you got them in the right order, for example, or the right position rather. And you can score points like that. And then again, you can actually have a go against your mates and see who's the best at predicting teams. And then on Saturday, the same match, you'll then be able to go and rate the players, for example. And this is all going to feed into the different sort of content that we do here on the channel. And yeah, a big shout out to you guys for making it possible to be able to do these sort of things. So yeah, get your votes in and let me know who you're starting in the number 1 jersey. You've got 14 votes. Need to get a bit more than that here, people. Got to get at least 20, 25 votes before we lock that selection in, and we can start building our team. So Oxenshire currently leading at the moment. Interesting that Jan Hendrik Wessels is in second place. Got 17 votes. Let's get up to 25 votes. I think that's 50% of the people watching. Surely it cannot be that hard to get to 50% of the people that are watching. In the meantime, if you'd like to join the Rassie's coaching corner over there and have your hot take or your comment featured in that chat box, then please do consider sending a super chat And also, please do consider becoming a member. You get a very cool little animation with the name on the back of a Springbok jersey. It all pops up on the screen. It's all lots of fun, and all your support with the super chats, with the becoming members, and all the likes of that go into us being able to do what we do. At this stage, unfortunately, we probably won't have the Rassie Rasmus press conference on the channel. We are working on it and trying to see if we can make a plan. But our man on the ground only gets to Durban on Thursday. So we will have Argentina stuff on Thursday, and then we'll have the full match build-up Friday as well as Saturday. So apologies for that, but yeah, unfortunately, personal things have happened, and we've had to adjust as a result. Right, there we go. We can name our first player into the team because we do have a result. And I'm then going to ask the next question, who starts at number 2? Options are Malcolm Marx, Marnus van der Merwe, Bongi Imbanambi, as well as Jan Hendrik Wessels. So let's go and throw those options in the number 2 jersey. Let's get voting for those. And in the meantime, I'm going to add Oxen Chair to our side. So that's now what it looks like. We've got our first man into the side. And Ox, one of the best resets in the world. And yeah, had a very, very good game. Just so consistent, isn't he? You know, so he's just one of those players that week in, week out provides the same level of performance. It's insane, actually, how consistent he is. And to think that, you know, he was part of that team that lost in Washington all those years ago to Wales. But he's managed to ride the wave. He's come back stronger. And look at him now. You know, I think he could have been in the World Player of the Year conversations last year. He was playing so well. But anyway, people, let's get to let's get to the 30 votes mark here. By the way, it's looking pretty close as well, which is quite interesting with regards to the poll. Now a bit of a favour starting to come through. I have no clue. Saying, what do you think of the current Curry Cup season? I mean, I'm not a massive fan of the fact that it's just not as valuable as it was, but at the same time, I'm very realistic in that there is no ideal slot, and within the current rugby landscape, you know, there's no immediate solution. You know, we don't have a slot for it really, unless we start to play it, you know, beginning of the year during URC and EPCR and the likes of that. And teams need to maybe decide if they're going to try and play at the same time, for example. It's a difficult one to get right. And I don't really know. I said I don't have a solution. I don't have a solution for the Curry Cup. I really don't. I don't know when the best time to play it is. I don't know how we make it competitive again. I don't know how we... I mean, in terms of its current genesis, I think that we've got to make sure we are better at taking it to community stadiums, for example, and making it a much more accessible product. I think that needs to be a big improvement. For example, I don't want to see the Lions playing all their games at Neds Park. I was there last year where they played at Midstream College, and it was a really, really good turnout, and it was a lot of fun. And we've seen them going to community stadiums, which is a really positive thing. And I think going to the schools and going to varsities is a really, really big step in the right direction with regards to the product in its current genesis. But we need to try and find a way to make it a bit more important. But I don't have the answers, unfortunately. Marcus Ferreira says, we need consistency in selection for now. There's still Japan, Italy, and Wales for experimentation and building depth. Jean Stewart saying, Ox needs a rest, needs to be managed like Etzebeth. Uncle Zoob's agreeing with that. And Kid Cynical saying, if Bongi is involved, he should rather start and play until he's emptied the tank. Well, he's not going to start. According to our poll, we have got a second one going in, and that is Malcolm Marx. So the next question is, who starts at 3 as our front row starts to take shape? The options are Wilco Low, Thomas Totoy, who has been the usual sort of starter. We're going to do a Vincent Koch as well, and those are your tight head options. Wilco Low, Thomas Toy, as well as Vincent Koch, who starts at 3. And we need to then add Malcolm Marx into our starting lineup in our predicted team. There we go. Well, yeah, your guys' predicted team, really. I still need to do mine a bit later. And oh, come on. Why is it taking so long to set the poll out? YouTube has not been happy the last couple of weeks. It's a lot of bugs. They're busy rolling out their brand new additions and creative tools and the likes of that, and it's not appreciating it, to be honest. So we have to try that again. Who starts at 3? Volko Low, Thomas Du Toy, or Vincent Koch. Those are your options Let's see if it posts this time. There we go. Dorian's saying, if your man on the ground in Durbs is going to be at the match, it could be fun to compile one of those game day vids. Yeah, so he is going to be at the match at this stage. So we are working on, we'll hopefully have the box arrival, for example, that we'll live stream on the ground. We'll have lots of different build-up packages and build-up for you guys. So, yeah, basically, get involved. Get involved and subscribe to the channel, because we are going to have a lot of very cool things happening out there, and very much looking forward to exactly what we can bring with you guys. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, because we do. I still believe, I think we bring some of the best live coverage and match coverage out there, and you guys continuously watching and stuff like that means I think you guys agree. So exciting times as a channel, because we are also approaching the big 100,000, and that's going to be a big moment for us when we do get there, and really excited to get to that landmark and to find a place to put my plaque up. We're going to have a plaque, and how cool is that? So yeah, people, anyway, keep voting for your number 3. Team will come out at 3 o'clock today, by the way. If you are wondering, that is when it is scheduled to come out. And hopefully we're going to see a very competitive side is going to go get a bonus point win. That is the main thing that we want to see later, is a team that can go and get all 5 points. That's the only thing for me that matters this weekend. It's all 5 points. Anything after that, whatever, I don't really care about, building depth right now. I don't really care about even the performance, to be honest. I know we need to start building towards 2027 and the likes of that, but for me, the next 2 games are very simple. It's all about getting the results. It's about winning the Rugby Championship. That is the only thing I care about right now, and I think that is pretty fair, to be honest. I've no clue, Sam. Do you think that the Mzansi Rugby League is a viable option for players that aren't in the system? I mean, look, to be fair, I don't know enough about it. In fact, I might actually, when we've got a bit more time, we'll probably try and see if we can get Ronaldo Bothma on the channel, which I'm sure he will jump on, and maybe chat about it and see what that's going to look like, and exactly what they're trying to do, and why it's considered a breakaway league. For example, they are very much getting a lot of resistance from SA Rugby, and basically SA Rugby have said that any players who get involved will be banned from playing in URC sides and the likes of that. So it does seem to be a bit of almost sort of gatekeeping to a certain degree. They're definitely not sanctioning the league, but I think that we don't really know enough about the league itself and exactly how it's going to look and what it's going to be like. So I think we need to understand more about it and where it sort of fits into the rugby ecosystem. I think it's obviously being the first year. I think it'll be a limited product, but only time will tell really with regards to how viable it's going to be and how important it can be and where it kind of fits in within the rugby ecosystem. But almost found 50 votes there. We're going to add Wilco Low into our side. He hasn't been starting the last few games, but you guys are reckoning he will start. Who starts at number 4? Question mark. That is a big question mark in fairness. Eben Etzebeth is one of the options I'm going to put in there, as is a Archia Snyman, as is not Lua Diaga, but as is a, I mean, let's just put him in there. You won't start at 4, but let's put a Woodnock here. Let's put a Franklin Mostert in, just so we have 4 options with our voting. As our team, well, there's our front row. Oxenshire, Malcolm Marks, Volko Low. I don't actually think it will be our front row, to be perfectly honest. I think that I think it's going to be probably very similar to what we saw against New Zealand. I think we will probably see. Look, a lot of people saying that Oxenshire needs a rest. Probably not massively wrong, but personally, I think that you play him the next 2 weeks and you don't touch him until he plays again against France. Or yeah, I think it's France first before Ireland. That's where I'm at, to be honest. I think at the end of the day, we need to win this game, and we need to win it with a bonus point. And Oxenshire is the best person to do the job. At the end of the day, he's our best number 1. So yeah, I think that's where we are. I think that this next vote is also going to be quite straightforward. And people need to smash the like over here. Come on, almost almost 100 viewers. We've just got 18 likes. Let's see if we can get that to a 30 like margin. And guys, have you guys picked your team on mypicks.app? Go there, and after we finish over here, go and pick your team. Email it to me, youtube@foreversportsmedia.com. I'm happy to go and maybe rate a few teams and the likes of that. I'll be putting out my team at around lunchtime as well to see what we're doing there. So number 4, at the moment, we're going to lock that in at 40 odd votes because it's pretty much a landslide. And we're going to put Eben Etzebeth back into the mix after not featuring in that second game. And that's, I think, what continues to be so amazing about that second result is some of the players that weren't involved, like an Eben Etzebeth, and yet we just were so good. So positive signs, lots of positive signs. Who starts at number 5? Now, that's some people saying that Ruan Okia needs a rest. I think he's actually all right. You got Franco Mostert as an option. You can got Arke Snyman as an option. In theory, you got a PSF the Toy as an option as well. You know, so there are lots of different options. In fact, I might even put a Pete Steph the Toy. Maybe we'll go something like that. I highly doubt it, but it is an option. It is an option. So let's get our voting for number 5 sorted, and let's see what we've got over there. Contender says, I think Ox deserves a rest, but Kings Park is his home ground. If he is rested, we will put Fenta on the bench with Vessel starting, give Sosa start, have Marco off the bench, good for breakdown. And Dorian says, I wonder how much rest some of these blocks may get before the November internationals if they're going straight into the URC squads. Traditionally, they've never really played in the URC at this period, to be honest. They've only really started to play in the URC in December. Look, some of them might play. So somebody like Moni van den Berg, for example. I mean, even then, he's on standby for the URC. So he's actually not going to go on tour with them unless they need him. But I think that'll be the case for a lot of these players. They might get maybe one game, and maybe Rassie will even say, you know, that he wants them to get a single game, like in that last week before the November internationals, you know, that weekend of the 20 whatever of October to get some game time. But chances are a lot of these players, you know, won't play. I don't think an Oxen Chair will play anything for the Sharks before November. I'll be very surprised. Maybe, as I said, maybe one game just to get him back to a bit of match fitness. But I think generally we won't see a Ruan Nokia playing for the Bulls. He is the captain, but we won't see him playing for the Bulls in the next few weeks. And that is just the reality of the calendar at the moment, is that we don't see these players playing in the URC at this sort of stage of the season. We only kind of really see them after this, and then they kind of then go to play. But also they have to kind of get those 2 months off, and sometimes they'll do those 2 months or a month off or whatever, or 6 weeks off in a January, February. So it's all that sort of continuously balancing act, isn't it? And Jacques Jordan or Jordan rather, saying he was going to go with Marks, Vilko, Arkia, Ruan Kwaka, PSF, the Toy, Visa, Reinach, Mani, Colby, Damien, Moody, Hooker, and Willemse. So throwing out his selection. I hope you've done that on my picks, and we'll see how many points you can get later. And Trolling Rainwright says, is Veli going to be able to play this weekend with the URC Bulls coming up? The plan is yes, he will be available. That is why he is flying back tomorrow on Wednesday after the Boks complete their final training session. So he is supposedly going to be available. Whether Jan Ackerman's going to start or not, I'm not entirely sure. Uncle Zoop says they're just picking their best squad. Hey, it's you guys at the end of the day. I can't tell you guys what to do. You guys got to pick the squad, and that's why you guys get to go and pick your own squad if you want to. And so go to my picks and pick your squad. But Ruan Okia is going into the side. And we're starting to get our top 5. Our top 5 is sorted. Yeah, the next poll we're going to have to is who starts at number 6. Obviously, you've got Circlisi as an option. You've got Marco van Staden as an option. And then you've also got Kwagga Smith as an option. So you can go get voting over there. And K3A, one of our regulars, says Ruan is like an old school Hilux. He'll go forever. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Contender says, will we try Sasha at 10 again versus All Blacks? Game wasn't promised, and progressing with him at 10. Maybe giving him another go will give him confidence. But Pimpy starts at 11. Hooker 13. Days and 12. Willemse 15. No Moody. That's what he reckons. Adrian says, what do you think about Rassie's contract negotiations? I don't see him leaving earlier. Looking at the landscape of talent in the country. I mean, at this stage, if it's not broken, why would you fix it? I think that's kind of the main thing. You know, we're playing well. We're number one in the world still. So you're gonna sit there and kind of think, well, why would we replace him? You know, why would we find somebody else? And I think that's probably the big thing at the moment that people that we're saying. So I think he will sign a contract. I don't expect him to leave, for example. And why not? Why not at the end of the day? Over 100 people watching, people, yet not to hit the 30 likes again. And if you would like to feature on the Rassie Coach's Corner, please do consider sending a super chat to feature over there. Please do consider becoming a member. We've got to pick our number 6 for this weekend. There's 43 votes. Let's get that up to 50 before we lock that in. Eric's saying, Bulls have a massive tour playing times 3 URC matches overseas and then a Champions Cup match also overseas. Need all their box in October, November. Unfortunately, they won't get them. They won't get a lot of them. Well, there we go. Sean Johnson's become a member, and that's the animation you see. The trumpet is back. Your name in the back of a box jersey. Spent a lot of time doing that, by the way. That is all custom development because apparently I'm a programmer these days. So yeah, big shout out to you for becoming a member. And if you'd like to become a member, please do. It's the pinned comment over there. So shout out to you, Sean Johnson. And yeah, if you'd like to become a member, you know how to do it. If you'd like to send a super chat, then you can feature in the Rassie's Coach's Corner over there. We are trying to get to 250 members. That's our members goal. Trying to get to 100,000 subscribers. It kind of shows you how few people are members of that 100,000. But we'll work on those ratios. We're up to 50 votes, though. It's a pretty simple selection. Sirklis is going into the number 6 jersey. The next question is, who starts at number 7? Pieter-Steph the Toy, Kwagga Smith, or Franco Mostert? I think there's any really options there. So those are your 3 options. Go and get involved in the voting. And we're starting to start, our pack's almost done. To be honest, we need to be a bit more original, I think, with our selection, because half the time this team starts to look very similar. And remember, we're trying to pick what Rassie's going to do here, not what we want, what Rassie's wants to do here, because then we can score it and see that that they are how close we are. Eric says, Steve, you think Griquas must replace Lions in the URC since they beat them in the Currie Cup final? I mean, we beat the 3 other URC sides. So if you're gonna replace someone, go replace Western Province, go replace Sharks, go replace the Bulls. You know, at least we took the Currie Cup seriously. You know, we're keeping the Currie Cup going single-handedly, really, these days with the likes of a Griquas. So yeah, I mean, if we're gonna go promotion relegation, we can. But RIP Western Province Rugby, because their Currie Cup was pretty despicable, to be honest. And don't give this whole thing about the youngsters and the likes of that. You know, it's not like the Lions played their URC squad throughout the entire thing. They've very much mixed it up. I think they've got the balance right. Couldn't get over the line at the end of the day, and I'm pretty heartbroken for that. However, it happens. It happens. Josh says, hopefully we get a performance like we had last year. And Firefly said, we need more depth with our flanks. Unfortunately, Alwick and Cameron is injured. Well, that is the problem, isn't it? Look, there is Vincent Tuka, who is sitting in Durban right now. Wouldn't be surprised, actually, if he trained a couple of times with the box this week. And although I suppose I think they're actually flying out, so maybe not quite. But I'm surprised he wasn't involved. I think he's somebody he should be getting more game time for the box. In all honesty, we've hit that magical 50 mark, and Pieter-Steph the Toy is going into our side, and we now just need to complete our pack with our number 8. And we've only got one out and out number 8. Although Kwagga is essentially out and out 8 these days, really. Don't see him playing too many other positions. So we've got Kwagga Smith and we've got Jasper Wiese has an option to foil the number 8 jersey. And then we can get into our back line. Malabongwe Malinga says Khaleesi is a must start at 6. Marco off the bench, maybe. And Jadrian Wolfhard says, has Edwil and Jaden fell out the pecking order? I think Jaden has. I think Edel van der Merwe is still involved. I'm very surprised he's not involved this week. And I think that he should have been involved, in all honesty. I don't really understand that. I think that, you know, he's not had a bad game for us. I understand that Ethan Hooker was really good against New Zealand. But I think Edwin van der Merwe is a fundamental part of our future. And as such, he should be featuring. So let's get voting on the number. Kiwi Rob says, stop giving Argentina no chance. I'm not going to listen to a Kiwi, man. Just because they beat you doesn't mean they're necessarily going to beat us. So, and if you actually have a shred of sense, you know that we've not saying we're not giving them a chance, but the expectation we beat them with bonus points. That's an expectation. You probably had the expectation to beat us at Wellington. And how did that go? So you're allowed to have expectations. I don't apologize for saying that it's the #1 team in the world. That the plan is to beat them with a bonus point. Eric says, Bulls and Lions in an intense choke race the finals past 5 years. Lions lead 5-4. Yeah, listen, I mean, that, cheers. You stagger in the hard stuff that I'm very well aware. Did my sports therapy last night, which if you haven't, please go check it out. It's on the Stevie P Patreon. And it was emotional. Vote for our scrum off, shall we? Because at the moment we need to sort out our number 8. So keep getting those votes in for the number 8 jersey. And have we hit that magical 50 yet? Not quite. Just keep on bringing those votes in. Come on, guys. We got to get to 50. We got to get to 50 for each vote here. There needs to be a fair reflection, you know. And 50 is about 50%. Kid Cynical says, I'd love to see Marnus, Quokka, and Marker all in the field second half, really contest the slow down Arge ball. Eric says, where's Jason Pretorius, still injured or overseas? For some reason, he's not traveling. I'm not entirely sure why. He's on the standby list for the Lions. I don't know if that means that he's recovering from an injury and maybe he's not quite match fit. But he's not going over. It's a very weird situation. I don't know what's going on. I'm not a massive fan of it. You know, I mean, he was so good for us last season. And I think actually knocking on Springbok selection, how they keep going Renzo du Plessis over, I'm not entirely sure. Maybe not quite the same type of player, but still, I still don't understand it. But yeah, he is on the standby list for the Lions at the moment for their tour. We have hit 50, I think, and 98%. That is a definition of a landslide. And Jasper Visa goes into the number 8 spot over there. Right. Who starts at 9? This for me is where I think things start to get a little bit more interesting. Grant Williams, Kobus Reinach, Faf de Klerk. I actually wouldn't be surprised if we saw Morne van den Berg get a start well, when it's announced, start the Saturday, announced this afternoon. But that's our pack, people. It's a pretty strong pack. I think it's pretty, I wouldn't be surprised if it's, I think Thomas Latoy potentially at 3 if they continue with consistency. But I think that's reasonably close to what I think we are going to see later. I don't really see why we'd change too much of that. And that covers all your bases, which is obviously one of the main things. But yeah, so if anyone's been follows me on Instagram or the likes of that, you'll see that I've got a Patreon, newly launched Patreon. Then we do sports therapy basically, which is where I rant and rave about the past weekend, and it becomes quite emotional. And if you'd like to go check that out and show some support, you can check out the Stevie P Patreon there. Or else you can just go and check out my personal channel as well, if you'd like. And we actually launched a new show last night. A couple of people joined us, which is the Sports Banter Hour, which is going to be a lot of fun moving forward. I need a lot more people on the chat because there's a lot of very engaging, very much crowd driven. Fireplace says, Rassie will test Grant Williams on the wing, in my opinion, to make him more flexible since Edville isn't in the team. What's the weather like? Apparently, the news on the ground is that it was very windy yesterday. However, the Saturday game we are expecting it to be pretty dry and hopefully good conditions. So, not entirely sure. This is a very close race, though, at the moment. Grant Williams winning, but everybody else has got a couple of votes. So, let's get that up to the magical 50 votes margin, and then we'll lock it off. But Grant Williams at this stage being backed to start. I still maintain he's better off the bench. I think he's our number 1 scrum off, but I'm a big fan of him off the bench, and I think the way we use him off the bench is really, really good, and Matt's a huge part to that second half kickstart, you know, to sort of really run tries. I think that he's also a very versatile player where he can come onto the wing and the likes of that. So we're going to lock up the poll there because it's at 50 votes. And Grant Williams will start, but it was relatively close, to be fair. I mean, he was fairly ahead, but how's that for a bit of consistency? And we've got 40% for Grant Williams, 20% for the rest of them, all of them. So we're going to put Grant in at number 9. And the next one we got to start, and this is also going to be an interesting one. Who starts at 10? The options are Mani Liebach, Andre Pollard, Sasha Faimugomazulu, And I'll put in Damian Williams because he is technically an option. So let's go lock that in, people. We have got our backline. We have got our scrum off. We've just got five more to do. And then we are done. And very interested to see how this goes after the last couple of games. Because I don't think this is going to be as close or as... I don't think it's going to be as clear-cut and dry. Maybe it is. Maybe I'm talking complete nonsense. I would love to see Monibok get another go, to be honest. I see Sasha is winning the early... I think they probably will go with Sasha, especially given the fact he didn't manage to... He only got so many minutes against the All Blacks, but I just thought the way Mani came on and just completely took control of the game, made much better decisions, guided us to that victory, was a huge part of that. I would like to see him get another opportunity. Personally, I think I'm going to put him in the team that I would like to see. But... yeah. Yassine says Faf has to retire along with Polly and the backline fogies. Yeah, it's fighting talk. Fighting talk, that. And Kiwi Rob still bitching and moaning about our win in 2023. You know, it's funny because, like, if this was the Webb Ellis, regardless of what actually happened on the night, I'll still be holding it. So, yeah, at the end of the day, we are the world champions. Huzzah, huzzah. And, you know, this whole thing, we get lucky, blah, 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 blah. The Webb Ellis trophy sits in Cape Town at the moment, and nobody else can do anything about that. Eric says, Pollard at 10 should not even be a debate, he reckons. Leighton says, Grant is our best 9. Who would you start if you wanted to come off the bench to impact games? Well, I think on recent form, probably Kobus Reinach. I think that moving forward, long term, I think Morne van den Berg is the option. And I think that's a nice combination. I mean, those two can be on scrum off combo for the next many years, to be honest. And I think that Morne van den Berg, for example, has a very good kicking game, and he's very good technical scrum off, which means you can afford to kick off 9 if you want to from a box kicking point of view. I think he's probably a bit better than Grant Williams in that respect. Not quite the same attacking nature with the sniping, the likes of that. But so that's kind of where I think long term, I think you'd see Morne start, you'd see Grant Williams coming off the bench. Fly half vibes. Again, you could have a Sasha, for example, Pollard as an insurance policy. You could have Sasha at 15, Money at 10, David Williams at 12. Something I like it. That's kind of where I am. And it's not the Piston Cup. It's actually my beer pong trophy for my birthday a few years ago. We actually took that out and drank out of it. It's about the closest thing I'm going to come to winning a trophy these days. Right, we're going to lock that in, though. We've got 54 votes and a clear winner. Very interesting. Who would have thought that a month ago when we had Andre Pollard with a man-of-the-match performance against Australia, less than a month later, he would be third in our poll for who starts at 10. Kiwi says, you've had an easiest season so far. I mean, we weren't the ones playing against the France B team, having 2 games at home against the All Blacks. You had to go to Argentina, who's the lowest ranked team in the Rugby Championship. By definition, you have had an easier season than us. You're just crap. That's the only thing I can really say about it. Let's decide who starts at 11, shall we? Who starts at number 11? And I'll be interested to see if we might see him a Pimpy, given the fact that it is his home ground. I'm going to put in a hooker there. I'm going to put in a Colby. And I'm going to throw in... Who else can I throw in? Who else can I throw in? Who else can I throw in? We've only got 3 wings. Yeah, Fuss is injured. We didn't call up Edville. Well, let's put in... who else can we put in? We'll leave it at those 2, I think. Leave it at those 2. I'm happy to leave it at those 2. You guys can decide who is going to be on that wing. I wouldn't be surprised if we do see him a Pimpy, to be honest. Given the fact that it is a home game for him, for example. Especially if he's moving towards retirement. This is a nice sort of capping off for him. Troyden says, how are red cards are enforced these days? Does the red card player still go off for 20 minutes and can then... Yeah, in the Rugby Championship, it is a 20-minute red card, which I absolutely hate. Yeah, I think it's so bad. I really don't understand the 20-minute red card. A red card's a red card's a red card's a red card. You know, it's not hard. It's not hard. It's not broken. We don't have to fix it. And yeah, right. So we've got 37 votes. So let's get up to that 50 votes. And Leighton said, it is calling for Pollard to retire. If there was a final tomorrow, Pollard starts at 10. No debate. I love the other boys, but in a final, there's just no one else with Pollard's BMT and experience. Eric reckons at Banner at 11. Fireflies plays gone with Grant Williams. And Stanley Peterson says, any idea when Malherbe will return? Only in the new year. So yeah, he is back and starting to sort of get back into the gym and the likes of that, but we will not see him this year, unfortunately. We'll also not see out low this year. We will also not see Cameron Harnicorn this year. So unfortunately for us, that is a big blow. And I think Francois Herbert, for me, is quite a big concern because he, having been out for a year at his age, he is a tight head, so you don't have to worry about him losing pace because Francois Herbert probably never had a lot of pace. But and scrummaging is where it's at. And at the end of the day, if he can scrummage, he's not lost his ability to read a defense, for example, and what he does in a defensive point of view. He's such an intelligent player with regards to that. He wouldn't have lost that. We don't have to worry about him losing pace. Tight heads usually play longer than a lot of other positions. You look at Dan Cole, for example, still going out there. So I think that he could make a return, but I do worry about having been out in a year is a long time. At the end of the day, a year is a long time. And we've got 44 votes at the moment. We can pretty much cap it off because it all looking pointing to one person, and that is the youngster getting the shout at... and he's actually down at centre, so because to be fair, he is a centre. Ethan Hooker going to number 11 jersey. Let's look at number 12. Very interesting decision here. Who starts at 12? Your options are Esterhuizen. Your options are Willemse. I think a lot of people might go for Willemse after what we saw recently. And then you obviously Mr. Consistency, Damian de Allende. I mean, it's amazing how quickly we've forgotten about Damian de Allende, but he's such a good player for us and has been such a good player for us for so many years. It's such a nice position to be at, to be honest. Yadrian Wolfwart says, predicting a 6-2, 7-1 versus Argentina, dominate the forwards and keep the ball should be the play. No 50-50s, no loose play to give them chances. Firefly reckon, and the hooker should play at outside centre. Eric reckons Hooker at 12, Moody at 13 is the future. And Dorian says, maybe if Colby is rested, then Moody can play on the wing. Oh, that's what I needed to add to the wing options. My bad, people, my bad. Knew I was missing somebody. Right, let's get up to that 50 point. I mean, we've almost got our team here, people. We've almost got our team. And I'm actually going to go check to see if any of you guys, since we started, have signed up for my picks. And there's going to be issues if they haven't. As if, you know, I know where you live and I'm going to find you. Well, maybe, you know, we can find that. I mean, it's 2025. You know, we'll hack people and stuff like that. But I do see that there are some new people. There are some new faces on the My Picks app. So welcome. Vaughn has signed up recently. Rion Pretorius has signed up as well. So a couple of people on the My Picks app. Welcome, people. Welcome to it. Good to see you involved. And yeah, go to mypicks.app. Go and choose your team. Email it to me. I'll try and give it a rating. But the main thing is, it'll score you as to how close you are. And remember, it's a prediction, not what you want. It's a prediction. You can use it as what you want. We are actually going to add a team generator, for example, so that you can create the team you want versus predicting the team you think Rassie's going to pick. But anyway, we're past that 53 votes, and Andre Esterhuizen's going to go into the number 12 jersey. This, for me, is going to be an interesting one to make. Outside centre here. And we can't put Ethan Hooker in there because we put him in the wing. So who starts at 13? It's basically a straight shootout between Creel and Moody. Yeah. Those are your options. Unless I suppose Damian de Allende can play at 13. But I'll be very surprised if we ever saw Damian de Allende start at 13. Josh says Bahoba is in the Imbanambi boat. Well, I think we'd have to see what he does next year, to be honest. And yeah, we are going to be talking about the whole Rugby Championship situation and what it's going to look like, for example. Very interesting updates coming out regarding that, and talks about the fact we're not going to have one until base 2029. So it's a lot to go through. It's a lot to understand. It's a lot that still, I think, needs to be confirmed, in fairness. Nothing being confirmed just yet. But obviously with the whole greatest rivalry tours and the likes of that, we're not going to have a full Rugby Championship for many a year, unfortunately. But at the same time, we're also going to get a what's it called? Greatest rivalry tour. So I'm seeing actually now, so on my side, it actually had Esterhuizen at 44% and Damian de Allende at 43%. And now that I've completed it, it's 43-43. And once again, as per usual, actually, no, that actually does under 100. So that doesn't help my thing at all. So we have to pick a coin, actually. We probably have to re-vote this, to be fair. Thanks, JP, for letting us know. Well, once we do then we'll just do a stretch. But to be fair, it was Vim's got 40%, so we'll have to do a stretch shootout. We'll do a quick stretch shootout, 20 votes. We'll cap it off there. This is quite a close vote, in fairness. Now Moody's taking a bit of a lead over there. So let's put in Kane and Moody. And in the meantime, we're going to do a straight shootout for who starts at 12, because it has updated after I closed off the poll. Straight shootout between Esterhazen and Damon De Lendi. First, after 25 votes, goes in there. Right, okay, Moody at 13. We have to do a very quick shootout, people. If you fight for your man, fight for your man. Go and fight for who you think is going to start there. Eric says Andre Esterhazen and Moody is 2 lock centers. Equals huge stuff. And Kid said, because is URC still a permanent red for deliberate or dangerous foul play, isn't it? I need to actually go check the final decisions on that. Christian says, we still play TRC in World Cup years, usually a truncated version, but I heard we're going to have a full URC in 2027. Yeah, nothing has been confirmed from a Rugby Championship point of view. Kiwi says, be honest, what do you think of the All Blacks playing all the SAURC teams? Well, I suppose it's a bit like the British and Irish Lions series. The expectation will be to beat them. I think the big thing that we need to see is to make sure that our URC teams have the Springboks available for them. I think that is the big question. If the Bulls are playing against the All Blacks with a Pollard, with Kevin Harnicombe, with Ulrich Lowe, with Ruan Nokia, with Jan Serfontein, with Caden Moody, with Kirkley Arons, then I think we might see some competitive games. At the end of the day, obviously the All Blacks are always expected to win those games, but if you can make sure the Springboks are available for the franchises, it could be competitive. You might be able to get some shock results over there. Right, people, we had the votes, and Esterhazen's gone to 12, so I'm not going to change that. Lisa Fitness is making a very good point, and I've often said that, and she's noticed, is the fact, or he's noticed rather, that Esterhazen will start at 12. He was in the press conference yesterday. His start is almost guaranteed. Well, him being in the 23, I think, is always guaranteed. They usually are starters, but not always, in fairness. Right, finally, let's go. Last 2 positions. Who starts at 14? Eric says, Henkhoff and Vake must move to the Bulls to link up with David Creel. That'd be another great box center pair option. You behave. Behave. Options at 14. Kane Moody, Cheslin, Colby. I'll put Mapimpi there, but I don't think he's ever donned number 14 jersey in his rugby career, which is a long and proud one. So let's get those final last 2 selections in, slap it all together, and then we can end it over there and reconvene at 3 o'clock to see how close we actually were, which is where the fun gets involved with this platform. So, yeah, people need to make sure you go and check out my picks. Big shout out to everybody who has so far. And I see even since I mentioned it, a couple more people have gotten signed up. So go and get involved on the platform. Go and predict your team, because it will get locked later. And then once the team gets announced, it'll score how close you were and how many points you got. And I want to ask you later, how many points do you guys get? I need to know. I want to know where you guys are at with that. And Auntie says, Archie was at the Eden Park press conference and wasn't picked, so not clear. Sean says, please do not let the Lions play. The All Blacks will be a cricket score. Back the lads. Back the lads. At Edis Park, we'll come out in our numbers, and we'll throw hands. We'll throw hands. No, Kuhn Horn's not going anywhere. Don't believe everything you say. I messaged him and I said, Kuhn, no. And he said, okay, cool. So he'll stay. So there's no stress about that. I'm not worried at all that he's going to the Bulls. Why would he go to the Bulls when he's already just becoming just an absolute go to the Lions? 45 votes, looking pretty clear. We're gonna throw Ches and Colby into the number 14 jersey, and then probably the easiest decision of the afternoon is who starts at 15. Given the fact that we've got Sasha, it's pretty much only Damien Williams who's even an option anymore. But we're gonna throw in let's throw in a Marty Liebach as an option because he has played there before. But that's about it. So we pretty much guaranteed. In fact, if there's one vote for Marty Oaks, they're just taking the piss, to be honest. But we've got to throw it out there. We have to throw it out there because it needs to be a vote. For the sake of transparency, for the sake of clarity, for the sake of fairness, it has to be a vote. You see, now people are taking the piss and putting in Marty Liebach at 15. You guys. Yeah, I thought the problem with JC at 15 is he just hasn't played there in like a decade. So I think since making that move in 2015, basically for the World Cup to outside centre, he basically has been there, and that has been about 10 years. So once it gets to 40 votes, we'll cap it off. You then go and put it in there. Right, there we go. So Damien Willemse. And there we have it, people. There is our side that we have predicted. We're going to lock in those picks. And there we go. Now we can go to share team. And this is what the platform looks like. And there is our team. You see the FS community starting 15 people. Love the work. And then you can actually go download your team. And it generates an image that looks a little something like this. Aha, there we go. So there we go. So that's what happens if you go and do it on my picks. So shout out to all you guys for getting involved. We have predicted our team. As you can see there, Box versus Argentina. It's the FS community starting 15. You can go predict your own on mypicks.app. Go and get them in quickly, people, because it is going to lock soon, given the fact that it is being named at 3 o'clock. So thank you very much for joining me in the morning. We'll see you all this afternoon for the official team announcement at about 3 o'clock. Smash a like on the video.